There we go. And, oops, I'm gonna go down here. There we go.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
We're angels.
So hi guys, we've got Andrea and Rin here from Sugar Patty's class. We're just going to get to know Dave Dahl from Killer Breads.
Okay, hold on. I'm figuring this out. There we go. I went overboard on the music, but
That's awesome.
All right, so Dave Dahl is the former owner of the Killer Bread, and he has quite the story, doesn't he, Rin?
He certainly does.
So he was born in Portland, Oregon, and I think his family was Seventh-day Adventist, and he's now a community activist. And how did he get started in baking, Rin? Do you want to talk about that?
So his family owned a nature bake from an early on age, and Dave used to go in and help his dad out at the bakery from time to time. Unfortunately, it didn't last through much of his adolescence. And by 1980, he had dropped out of high school and started a life of petty crime.
But since his life of crime, he has turned things around, and that's where Dave's Killer Bread has come from. And he has since become a speaker for mental illness, and he promotes what's called second chance employment. And as a fun fact, he plays the guitar and he also does yoga. So this kind of talks a little bit more about his tough beginnings. He started in his dad's bakery, and this is back in the 70s, and his parents' bakery, they focused a lot on non-GMO foods that were organic. And when he
forward thinking back in 1970.
yeah, really I think it had to do with his religion. They didn't drink, they didn't smoke, very pure, clean life. And then his parents went for the non-GMO and everything. So I don't know if this is going to cover that, so I'm just going to move us up here now. So struggling with mental health in 2004, he eventually made a plea to the prison to help get himself for his suicidal thoughts that he was having. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and he was finally able to access the help that he needed. And we'll talk about it later, but that was a transformational time in his life. During his treatment at the Snake River Correction Institute, he began playing guitar, and he received education and training in drafting and design. And those are all skills that he used later on to help develop his brand, which is Dave's Killer Bread. And the oats and blues is actually pretty significant. As we were reading and researching, a lot of his breads are named after something in his life or a time in his life.
Yeah, I found it absolutely fascinating that he was able to take skills that learned in prison and turn them into his own brand. It was, his story really resonated with me. Related a lot to my late oldest son. It's absolutely fascinating. I wish it was more publicized than what it is.
I couldn't agree more. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So this is what we talked about earlier, the moment of transformation in his life. And you'll see the note there at the top. It's called the kite line. And he doesn't really know why it's called the kite line, or if there's a background to why it's called that in prisons, but apparently it's a note box. You put a kite message in, and it's your actual written request for help. And it took a lot of courage for him to put that in there. And he was just basically admitting that he was having really dark thoughts and he needed help. And at that time, they introduced him to antidepressants, and that helped him a lot. And thinking back, like that was about in 2004, and we are really fortunate to live when we live now, that the mental health is starting to be talked about more and more. And so hopefully we start seeing more of this coming out of prison. So when he got out of prison, Rin.
Yeah, so when he got out of prison, he was, the first time he got out of prison, his brother said, hey, come on back to the bakery and, try it out, see if it fits your lifestyle kind of deal, and we can get you started again. Unfortunately, it didn't last too long for him, and he ended up back in crime again. But like we just said about the training he got later on in his prison life, he was able to take those skills that he learned and eventually 15 years later come out of prison a new man. Really, he was able to create that dough and sell it at a farmer's market to begin with, and to think that a multi-million-dollar business has now been created from a farmer's market test try.
Yeah, really.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, I
neat.
think every person selling jam there, that's the
Right.
dream, right? To be the next bon maman or whatever. So
Right.
yeah. So he worked 40 hours a week, and I think it said he was only making $12 an hour, which isn't much.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
but he had such a dream because it was his family business. And he talks about blues bread is the first one. It's the first bread that I can hear my baby crying. It was the first bread that he pulled out of the oven, and he just knew that that's when things were going to be a change. And here's just a quote here for you. So here we are talking a bit more. I think the video is actually going to start playing, maybe. Hold on. So this kind of talks a little bit more about him selling it. And before he sold the business, they sold it for $275 million. And before they sold it, it was sold in 8,000 stores. And after they've sold it, it's now in 22,000 stores, and it's growing. And this is the largest organic bread company in North America. And it is available at Costco if you shop there.
You know what? We don't have it in Costco in Newfoundland. As soon as we started reaching them, I was like, oh, I gotta go to Costco.
Oh,
It wasn't there. I was like,
did they at least ship to you guys or no?
Yeah.
So, oh, well, you're saving money on all the extra stuff.
Probably.
So, okay, the video didn't play, so I'm going to see if I can get it to play.
Yeah.
Oh no, our video is not going to play. We'll see. Anyways, that was just a video of the product, and in the presentation, you'll see it later. Sorry, Shucker. So we're going to pause now for a word from our sponsors. Speaking of Shucker. So, I don't know if anyone knows, but Shucker Patty has his own line of oyster knives. He's also written a book, and this tray here at the bottom is available for sale at the Swissmar website. Very exciting. I can't find your picture there, Laura. Thanks, Shucker. So this, pardon my TikTok. This part expands a little bit on some of the commitments that Dave Dahl and his bread company have. And hold on, I'm gonna move us over here. I don't know if this is gonna record that there. We're down here now. The things that they're committed to is the taste, organic, not artificial anything, sustainable business practices. One of the things I watched, he talked a bit about even the bread bags. It's not the greatest, but they're lined with something so that the bread bags decompose after a couple of years. He's like, yeah, it's progress from where they were.
For sure.
Hire, and the biggest thing is he's created the Second Chance Project, and that's hiring employees that have a past criminal history. Obviously, with his experience and the successes he's had, he's hoping that they can pave the way for other convicts or people coming out of prison to have an opportunity. And he continues to share his story to promote change. And I am honestly thinking, like, this guy needs to have a movie made about him because it's very inspiring. All right,
I love that.
We're gonna write the screenplay.
What's that?
We're gonna write the screenplay for it, and Shucker, just we'll invite you to the opening night.
Hey, red carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have oysters there for us.
There you go.
All right, so there's a little video here. I don't know, we can read it or you can read it with us.
Yeah, believing in second chances. So Dahl's company grew to the point where they had over 300 employees, where over 30% of those were formerly incarcerated individuals. How fantastic and amazing is that a company can go and rehabilitate or help rehabilitate 30% of its workforce from prison life to being able to support themselves and be a functional part of society. It's absolutely amazing.
Sorry, the raisin bread's dancing now. There's no purpose to this video other than it's a dancing raisin bread.
Like the California raisins.
Yes. That's it. So yeah, one of the breads that he designed is called Good Seed, and he has a tattoo on his back, I guess, and it's related to the good seed, and it's just basically find the good in everybody, doesn't matter what their background is. And like Rin said, he's about 30% of their employees are former incarcerated people. And so now we're going to show you some of their stories, and it's actually going to show you a little bit about what's on their website. You can read all about them. So here we go.
Did you know we are a second chance employer hiring people with criminal backgrounds? You can learn more about the people behind the bread on our website.
I think it's almost in there. I think what I like the most about the website and the sharing of the stories of their employees is it really humanizes the people that work for them.
For sure. Yeah, it gives them a voice.
It really promotes the reasons for why you should consider second chances with people. And you can just see how grateful some of these individuals are. And it has their job positions at the bottom, and like production lead. These are opportunities that because of their criminal history, they probably never would have had the chance. And it's really inspiring. So I know for myself and my work, I deal a lot with people who have a criminal history, and it's hard to believe them. And basically we just kick them out of Canada all day long. And so, I do hear their stories, and I am compassionate to their situation, but we have laws that we still can't allow them to come into the country. But anyways, we're way over 10 minutes, I'm sure. This was on their TikTok, and I just like that the song it's like it fits with the theme. They raise their employees. So do you have anything you want to add, Rin?
That's pretty much sums Dave Dahl up. He's been, fantastic.
So this kind of covers that. The news clip, we're not going to include it because of the length of it, but if you want to go back and watch it later, it just talks a little bit about in 2013, his friend was killed in a drinking and driving accident after they'd spent some time together. That's what you had found, correct? And then,
yes.
Yeah. And then he later was on a sabbatical from working, and he had a breakdown, and that's what this arrest was. And the judge actually was very gracious because he was conditionally released with supervision and conditions with a ban on driving and staying out of bars. And once again, he just took that to add it to his story to continue his message. So here he is sharing the message. Anything you want to say here? I talk too much. I talk over. I'm sorry.
So Dave has basically, he's made himself the poster child for breaking through a difficult past and finding success. In 2012, he visited 50 detainment centers, youth facilities, and prisons to share his story. And I think that's absolutely the key to his success, is his ability to open up and share his story. He's written a book, The Good Seed, which he co-wrote or kind of went along with another ex-con who had his life.
It wasn't ex-con.
Oh, sorry. Well, he wasn't an ex-con.
Yeah, I know. It's the person. I think it's when he asked the guy why they want to write a book together. He just said, because a neighbor of mine was an ex-con and he saved my life. And so that's where he wanted to share light on the issue or highlight the fact that ex-cons can be good people.
For
So,
sure.
yes.
And, Dahl has taken it a step further by donating copies of the books to correctional facilities to share that story with those that are, probably not feeling the happiness of being inside of a prison right now. He's won numerous civic awards, and he is a great promoter and supporter of the Living Yoga nonprofit organization that brings yoga programs into prisons, drug rehab, alcohol recovery centers, etc. So yeah, he's taken all of these bad experiences and brought them into places where they're much needed.
Hold on, I think I have to move us because I don't know if you can see where I have you moved on the screen because I'm screen sharing, but yeah, he just says you just won't have time to be a bad guy if you're doing yoga, well, or thinking about the good things and whatever. So
Yeah, for sure. What a great quote.
yeah. All right, Dave Dahl. Let's see. So what happens after the bread? Tell us, Dave Dahl. So there, I'll move you there. There we go.
Perfect. So once he decided that, he's progressed to a point in the bread industry that he'd had enough, he ended up selling the Killer Bread Company for over 33 million US dollars. He took his portion then and decided to his portion of the sale was $33 million, sorry. And he then took that portion and decided to start collecting African art after purchasing his first piece at a yard sale, I do believe it was. He's now 2 years later, or not now, but 2 years later in 2015, he opened up a Discovery African art import company where he purchases African art from around the world, and has stocked 3 warehouses full.
Yeah, I think it was like he started collecting and like within a year he had 3 warehouse full.
Yeah,
okay, that puts any like shopping addiction I've had to shame. So, like good for you.
What a collection. He's collected from over 99 African tribes. How
yeah,
time consuming it must be.
yeah, he must know a lot, and he's never been to Africa, but he's just really interested in it. And I believe he sells some of it, or it's up for sale and he trades it. And
Yes.
some of the proceeds go back to Africa. And I want to say it's for grain or something. There was a few different resources in that. So
Yeah, definitely. I think there was farmers and
yeah,
a couple of other programs as well.
to support community growth there. So, which is pretty cool. So then this is some of the African art. And again, there's a link here. And this video is a little bit longer for you to go back and watch if you're interested in it. Shucker Patty. But basically there's a quote from him. It was from the Oregon magazine, because after I put this all together, I just kind of threw this in at the end, and I was like, well, why did he start buying the art anyways? Like, why? Like, from bread to African art, like what was the draw? And basically he just saw it up on the wall and he was moved by the way you could integrate animal and human elements. And he ended up buying lots of these masks, and that was it. And that's as simple as that. He saw it, he liked it, he bought it. And when you have $33 million and well, I mean, I don't know what I would do, but maybe. So
you never know.
And there we go. So here we are at the very end. Oh, hold on. There we go. We've got some wonderful TikToks from the Killer Bread Company. All the different colors of the Killer Bread options. I will admit that while making this video, I did have to partake in some egg in a hole, because
Yes.
I love a good bread, and when I think of a good bread, it's all about toasting it with egg in a hole. And I was quite happy when they had this. I've never done it in the oven like they just did.
Yeah.
This is how I do mine, on the skillet. Then he's going to show the air fryer next.
I know, I saw that one too.
I think I want to get an air fryer. Although my new oven I'm getting has an air fryer option.
Oh,
so
there you go.
I know, fancy, right?
Yeah.
So just a little more flashy Dave Dahl stuff for you. And honk if you're a breadhead. which is kind of fun. I like that. Um,
Awesome.
but basically we can learn from this, just accept people and kindness wins and continue giving back. And what his good seed idea is, if you plant a good seed in yourself, or if you make something good, if you're doing good, good things will come from the good that you do. Or if you make something good, good things will come from the good that you do, because he's making good food and making healthy choices for people, etc. So,
Exactly.
and look for the greatness in others. And that's the end of our presentation. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. All right, have a good night, Shucker Patty.
Night.
Hold on. How do I stop the recording?